Hello, everyone. I know, Juliana, you always start webinars off with like, hello, and welcome. And now I literally just did that right now because it's just so ingrained in my head at this point. Hello, and welcome.
Yeah. It's not. I'm not trying to be scripted. It's just like hello, but then there's no response. I'm like hello. I don't know. It's just
So you
my
gotta say,
thing.
yeah, exactly. Well, good evening, everyone. It's Friday, 2 p.m. If you need a break from work or anything of that nature, this is the perfect show for you. Where we're going to talk today about how to make your employees feel appreciated at work. And my name is Lee. I'm the marketing specialist here at Payment Evolution, and I have with me.
Juliana or JTC or the Great JC or JT China. People sometimes. Yeah, have you heard that before? Like some people are like, "Oh, you've got the Jesus Christ initials." I'm like, "I'll take it, whatever." So,
I think you're trying to copy a rapper of some sort.
no. That I'm capable of that. Like I'm capable of yeah. Like I love rap, especially certain rappers. So yeah, it's not beneath. It's not above me, beneath me. I don't know. It is aligned with my behavior that I might try and take someone's title. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I didn't know. It always surprises with you. So before we actually get into the topic, I'd love to ask you real quick. So you're biologically related to Alessia Cara, is that right?
Alessia, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Alessia, yeah. What's really funny, so she was born when I was 18, and and when I found out her name, I remember being so upset because I wanted to use that name for my daughter, and I thought I grew up like so old school Italian. I thought I'd probably be married and having a kid in 2 or 3 years. So I was like, now I can't take their name because whatever. Little did I know I wasn't going to have a child for another 12 years. And I didn't have a girl, so it's all good.
And are you in contact with her? By the way, for those joining in, Juliani here is related to the artist Alessia Cara. You may have heard of her. I think I want to. Yeah. Anyways, she's on radio a lot. That's what we're talking about. But are you still in contact with her? Like, is she your homie? You call up and you're like, hey, what's up? And then you get backseat access to like these big events, or?
Well, yeah. So we have a really, really big family. So, and she's not in my age group. I was like my generation is her parents, right? So I'm probably closest with her aunts and then her dad and uncle. But like if she and I saw each other somewhere, we would say hello. We would kiss each other. But like I don't like call her on the regular or anything like that. But if I was going to one of her concerts, yeah, I would call up my cousin and say, yeah, I'm coming with, some friends or whatever, and we want to go backstage or we want to stay. Is that possible? That's not always possible, right? It depends what kind of concert it is and who's, like, if anybody else is at that show. So at a dedicated show for her, I'd be able to. But if it was a joint show with, I don't know who, I don't know. Like, I know she performed with Taylor Swift. I'm positive I wouldn't have been able to go backstage there because it was like a Taylor Swift concert, and she performed. So that's great, but I'm sure I couldn't have gotten in. But yeah, like the funniest thing is my father's got a better connection than me. Like he could easily call my cousin and my cousin would be like, whatever you want, So my father had one of the few seats at one of her concerts that was all stand up. Yeah, it was so cute. They put all of the old Italian uncles and aunts in the seats. It was really cute.
Oh my God, I don't have family members, celebrities, so I don't know what that dynamic and family dynamic feels and looks like. But that's fascinating. But if you are tuning into this right now, by the way, we are going to be talking about how to make employees feel appreciated in the workplace. And let us know in the comments where you're watching this from. Are you in Canada? Are you in the States? Are you in Europe right now? Just let us know in the comments wherever you're watching this, either on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, whatever it is. So with that being said, let's kind of jump into it, I guess.
Sure, absolutely. I have cheese and nuts. Excuse me.
No, it's like 2 o'clock. It's pretty much lunchtime. So I guess where I'd love to start is, what is your relation with keeping employees engaged? What's your experience with that, Juliana?
So I really think of all the work that I do and the work that all of my peers do. I see it all as very interconnected. So yes, I work in marketing, but one example is I always say, if the people you work with don't love the brand, you can't expect external buyers, consumers to love the brand. So I think, like, my job, I think that the internal staff, the internal team, they're also my clients. If they don't love the marketing that we're doing, if they don't think that the explanations I'm providing are clear and simple and fun to engage with, if they're not another mouthpiece for the brand, then I'm not doing a good job. And I do believe, marketing should be tied to the mission, and the salespeople should be driven to execute that mission, be, in the field executing. So I see it all as very interconnected. And when I'm creating marketing, I'm not just doing it with a view to the consumer. I'm doing it also with a view to my peers, and whether or not it'll resonate with them, inspire them, excite them, engage them. So I think that's sort of my view of all of this generally. And then, as a people leader too, I want to keep my team engaged. Absolutely. So there's that too.
That's awesome. Wow, that's crazy. And so can you maybe can you tell us the importance of employee engagement and making them feel appreciated? Like, why should a company care about making their employees feel appreciated? I know you talked about, employees take care of customers, that's why you need to take care of employees, but can you go a little deeper into why it's a little more important?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to use the sports metaphor. If you get the best player in your league on your team, you've spent all that money, but you make them feel like crap, they don't feel appreciated, they're not going to shine. They're just not going to shine. And
right.
whether you have the reason I say best player in the league is because you expect that person to shine no matter what. But all of us want to be our best. And that comes hand in hand with appreciation. Without that appreciation piece, you don't bring your best self. You don't love your job. It becomes something that you are trapped in, and success does not come from that, for individuals or for companies. So I just feel like it's a win-win. It is a necessary part of the relationship. Like, imagine being in a marriage where you love your partner and your partner says to you, yeah, well, you're all right. It's just not going to happen. Like, eventually you're going to be just all right too. And then no one's trying. I think we can relate this to pretty much any situation where people work together. And right. It's about the union. It's about the connection. So yeah, we need to appreciate our people. You can't just expect people to run on autopilot and perform at their best without you ever filling their cup.
No, for sure. Yeah, no, and I've been in a lot of roles where I feel like I'm in a vacuum. I don't know what's happening. I'm kind of doing random things and just not feeling acknowledged, not even just appreciated, but acknowledged of the what I'm doing and my even just presence in the workplace. Yeah. That alone, I remember feeling not as engaged in the workplace because of that.
Yeah, totally. I'm gonna just quickly, because are you getting a weird echo when I talk at all?
I'm not getting an echo, but you are lagging right now.
Lagging, okay. I think I'm just gonna remove you really quick and then add you back to the stream and see if that fixes the, I'm getting an echo with you. I'm gonna just quickly do that right now. Okay, now let's try this again. Talk.
Hello.
Well, there's still a little bit of a weird echo. I don't know if
give me a second. I think I know why.
Okay, cool.
Is there an echo now?
Talk.
Is there an echo now? Testing. Is there an echo?
It's better, but I still hear an echo actually.
Okay, and how about now?
I still hear an echo, I think.
Okay, then you know what? Let me just change my speaker. Okay, and is that better?
Talk.
Testing. Hello, hello.
I don't know. I think there's still an echo. At this point, I don't even know what. Like, I'm used to it, but I think you still have an echo. Can you change your mic?
I changed my mic. Okay. I don't have another mic attached.
Oh, okay, okay. That's okay. I can hear you, so we're gonna just go with that.
Is this better? Is this better?
No, this is worse.
This is worse?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a second.
I'm gonna keep talking. I like what you said about the acknowledgement. Like, there's this episode of The Simpsons where I think the teachers are on strike or school is out or something, and Lisa's going crazy. And she's running around and she's saying, please evaluate me, you know? And there's this, you know, she's a goody two-shoes student and she wants the appreciation, the acknowledgement from her teacher. But there's something more to be said about that. I think that we need a feedback mechanism. Even if, like in instances where it's not praise, we still need to know that there's someone hearing us.
Yeah.
Right? There needs to be, you can't be in an echo chamber because that is a completely different situation. You wouldn't be working for someone. You wouldn't be working for a company with a team if you only wanted to hear your own voice. So if you're working with folks, you need a feedback mechanism, even if it's just acknowledgement that you said something. I saw that assignment got handed in. Thanks. Thanks for that opinion. I noticed you were working late last night. Like, it's a feedback mechanism that you're not alone in the world, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I think that's what's missing when you're in solitary confinement. You can fake conversations with yourself, but you never have the feedback mechanism. And it's just, like, as animals, we need that connection. And appreciation is an excellent way to do that. But even in the absence of appreciation, you still need to just be human together, you know? What are you working on? You know, that kind of thing. So that acknowledgement piece, I think, can come in many forms. And it can come from peers, not just management.
Right, exactly. I totally agree. We're not robots. We can't just be put on the desk and just work and then go home and everything and feel like we had a very fulfilled day. I know that's not how I work and everything.
Yeah.
But any other tips on what are some common, I guess, what are some habits that an employer can do on a regular basis, whether it's a morning huddle, whether it's a Slack channel that recognizes people or anything. What are some habits you think an employer can use to make their employees feel more appreciated?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a great question. And I can't take credit for this. I don't actually know whose idea it was, but I worked at one place where we decided to put a bar height table, like boardroom style length, but bar height in the middle of the office. And we ended up having tons of meetings there, stand up a lot of the time. And we eventually started doing these Monday morning huddles. And so you got a company, you might have 30 people, you might have 40 people around the table at a time. And, can you efficiently have a meeting like that? Well, I'll tell you, not only did we officially have good meetings, and on Monday mornings, it would be I'll give you an update that, this is the week of that big conference. So you're going to see a lot of people coming in and out and it's going to be crazy. But I wouldn't give you every update about what I'm working on, right? We would share what was big and happening for the company. And we would do something together. So it would be we would rotate and someone would ask a question what did you have for lunch on Saturday afternoon? And we would go around and just rapid fire, tuna, nothing, we just went around and it was so fun how much it took no prep, zero preparation. This idea that we don't have the time to do that. Okay, that's great. But then maybe you need to find something to do that doesn't require time, that isn't a time suck, that is just a connection builder. And someone would say something like, I don't know, something unique that they had for lunch, and then everyone would start laughing, and then we would end up with like these little side conversations, and we'd come all back together, and 10 minutes later, it was like pure oxygen was flowing in the room. We were all excited for our Monday. And who has that on a Monday morning? I think that is an incredible habit. Don't just have that Monday morning meeting to talk about what the to-do list and the KPIs for the week. Be human beings. Actually enjoy being there. As a leader, if you enjoy it, your people probably do.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, you have to enjoy yourself, and then your people would. Yeah, like don't make if you don't want to do something, don't give it to another person and expect them to be happy as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're just outsourcing tedious admin tasks that you hate doing, and you just kind of give it to someone else, I don't think you should expect them to like be bright with joy, being like, yeah, I love that. It's an admin task that I'm doing, right?
Totally.
So realistic expectation.
And I think, like, if we talk about that Monday morning huddle example, if you're as a leader going to go to the Monday morning huddle and be like, okay, everyone, it's Monday. Who's got a big event this week that we all need to know about? Like, if you're going to bring that level of energy, then everyone else is going to. Is it the law of thermodynamics where you can't like create or destroy energy? Whatever you put in is what comes out. Like
transfers, yeah.
Yeah, is essentially if you come in with that energy, don't expect your employees to be like, I'm excited, I'm bringing my best self. You're going to get what you put in. It's a reflection. And I really do think we're all leaders. So if you're an employee in that huddle, you can also shift things. Bring up something that your leader loves. Maybe your leader is a golfer or a gamer, and you're able to come in and say, all right, I'm dying to know, what did you play this weekend? What level did you make it to? Bring the energy, change the vibe. Culture can change, and a culture of appreciation can actually start from the ground up. It doesn't have to start with leadership saying appreciation matters. You can train your leaders to respond well to it, to enjoy it themselves, and to take part.
Right, exactly. And what do you think are some ways that a leader can bring more energy on that Monday morning when they don't feel like it? Like, what do you think they should just, I don't know, like look at themselves in the mirror and just be like, hype themselves up or something, or take a magic pill or something of that nature?
Who doesn't love a magic pill? That'd be amazing. I think, like, if you know that you're not a Monday morning person, maybe you go into your calendar, block half an hour on Friday afternoons or whatever is a good day for you. And maybe that's where you come up with the funny question that you're going to ask on Monday, or the quick activity you're going to do. Like, for example, and again, I'm using this one previous employment example because it was probably one of the most authentic cultures I've taken part in. But I remember I think it was the executive assistant to the CEO. She came up with the idea that it would be hilarious if she made a puzzle, and nobody knew what the puzzle was, but it was just put on this big bar height island for the company, and we had to figure out the puzzle. And so everyone just kind of started laughing, went into this area, as we were all like, oh, I think that matches with this. And it turned out it was this picture of the CEO's face, and it was funny. It was funny, we didn't know what it was. We worked together, we figured it out. And then in the end, we're all just like, it's you, And it was a good time. And it was just one person thinking, I think this would be really funny. I'd love to do that. So yeah, I think, I don't actually remember specifically what your question was, but I think that connection, that appreciation can come from a variety of different things. It can come from saying, you did an incredible job. You're special to me. Thank you for your contribution. It could also be just actually enjoying each other, being there. That's a way to appreciate each other, is that you actually, someone you do appreciate, what do you bring to that relationship? Do you actually bring true friendship? I think one of the best validations for me that that my employees feel appreciated is when they are fully transparent and honest with me. And I'm not even asking for it. They just do it. So I've had an employee leave me a message at 3 a.m, drunk, saying, "Oh my God, I had a wild, unexpected night. I'm not going to be in the morning. I'll call you as soon as I'm functional." And that person could. Now, this isn't a person with a drinking problem. This isn't happening all the time. It was, Wednesday. It was completely unexpected. And that person could have said, sorry, I'm not feeling well. I don't know when I'm going to be in. I need to take a sick day. They could have lied to me. It wouldn't have changed the circumstances. It wouldn't have changed the fact that she ended up having a crazy, unexpected, and awesome night. What was different was that she felt she could share it with me. And that is such a huge compliment to me, that she knew that I wasn't going to assume she's a drinker or lazy or unreliable, that there was enough appreciation and respect there that we could actually be real. So it's interesting, the things that can come across as appreciation. But for me, that was appreciation, being told the truth as someone's manager, as opposed to a lie. And I know you think this is hilarious.
No, I've never heard like someone drunk texting their manager at 3 a.m. So like that's a whole new story for you. But I can see how that would make you feel like oh wow, you actually had the comfort to say that to me. So that tells us a lot about our relationship.
And don't do it with just any manager. Like, you only are going to do that with a manager that would work with, right? Like, you have to, for a certain person, respect is going to look different than it does for another person.
Right, exactly. And I think we actually have a comment here from LinkedIn. Let me just pull it out real quick. So Selena, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, Selena, says, that is a phenomenal idea across various industries. A great time to take a brain break. Awesome. And Selena personally, or?
Selena has been attending a bunch of our live streams. I think she attended the Friday night one with my dad. Selena's awesome. I appreciate all of the engagement, and it's always just so great to know that something you're saying is resonating with people. So thank you, Selena, and anyone else out there who's giving us your eyeballs. But also, please be inspired and share your comments like Selena is doing.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks, Selena.
Hi.
So, with that being said, so what are your thoughts on like maybe having a Slack channel or a team channel in your team communication software where it's purely dedicated to appreciating one another and calling each other out and saying, "Yeah, you did this great." Do you believe that is effective?
Yes, if it's done authentically. So if you have an appreciation channel, we at Payment Evolution have a #awesome channel, right? And whenever you want to just call it one of your coworkers, you can share with the company something awesome that happened and #awesome one of your teammates. And I think that it's great. But what makes it great is that there are two things I think that make it great. One, it's happening completely organically. So it's not forced. It's not like you see just people leaders saying, "I want to appreciate a leaf today for getting the blog out on time." Like, it's not, I need to put out an awesome #awesome comment today. I haven't done one in a week and a half. Like, it's real. And so the moments where someone says, "I need to, say, awesome job to a leaf," he created a blog post that broke our record for day one viewers. That's actually something real. It happens organically, and everyone else is like, "No way to go. I didn't see that post. Where's the link?" And real conversations come out of it. So that's one thing. It can't be forced. Right. The other thing that I'll add is that our leadership team has taken it to another level, and they choose. They've been choosing one person from the channel that's mentioned in a specific time period, and send a dinner from HelloFresh, actually, which is one of our customers. And hello, HelloFresh. And we really appreciate that you're a part of our community. And we're part of yours, you know? So yeah, I think they took it to the next level. I don't think there is a checklist of things you can just deploy in your organization and say, we appreciate our employees. We have a channel. Good for you. When was the last time you actually put something in there that was real? You know,
Right.
that is the real question, I think.
Right, yeah, and I want to double down. Like, it can't be like sort of forced where someone's like, "Hey, make sure you post something today. What do you post something today?" And I also think the leaders should also should often post on that kind of channel or communication method as well, just to like lead by example. I know in past roles, I've been in like Slack channels where it's like appreciation, and I almost started feeling bad because people wouldn't shout me out as much as the A player in our team. It's almost like the weak people that kept getting shout out. And I came to a point where I'm like, okay, look, this is more demotivating now than like motivating at some point. But when I did get shout out, it was pretty joyous. So
Yeah.
it's a weird dynamic, you know, in a way.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a really good thing to point out. Like, again, people value different things. So if someone is a words of affirmation person and they're completely neglected on a channel like that, well, that's going to hurt. And they're going to notice because that's what they actually seek. If someone's a gift person, maybe somebody they gets a shout out every week. They're just a superstar and they're constantly, you know, blowing the expectations out of the water, and they constantly get a shout out. But because they constantly get a shout out, maybe they don't get a gift. Maybe management says, "Oh, well, that person always gets so much attention. I'm going to give the HelloFresh meal this week to somebody who never gets called out." The person who gets called out all the time, their love language might be gifts. And so by not giving them the HelloFresh thing, they might actually feel that, even though they're getting called out all the time. So it's kind of like learning. In learning, we have multiple modalities and we have multiple learning styles. And you can't just go into a classroom as an educator and say, I know I learn best when someone tells me and I just write it down. So that's how I'm going to teach. You need to do that, and you need to do other things. You need to do some hands-on learning, and you need to do some play-based learning, and you need to do maybe some group work, and you know, you need to have some video. You need to do stuff that is going to speak to everyone. Otherwise, like I like to compare. I'm doing a lot of comparing here, but I love to compare learning and healthcare, because in healthcare, everybody goes into the hospital, into the ER with a different problem. And we have a system, a triage system, where we manage to get you the custom care you need. And in education, where we spend a heck of a lot of money, and we apparently as a society believe education matters so much, we don't have a triage system and we don't have all of the customizations, but there's clearly a method for it. And I think we need to challenge ourselves as leaders. You can't just manage one way because that's how you like to be managed. I think you need to think about who you are serving, and you need to speak to them. And sometimes that's appreciation verbally, sometimes it's a gift, and sometimes it's quality time. Sometimes it's something like, I really just appreciate what you did for me this week. And so I'd like to go out for lunch. And I just want to pick your brain about why that was so special to you. Everyone's going to be different. So get to know your people.
Yeah. Know them, understand what makes them tick, and use that, right, in whatever way you find best. What are your thoughts on, so going back to that channel, right? A question just kind of comes to mind. This is out of just pure curiosity. But, in that channel, I remember there would always be specific people calling out specific people all the time. And it was like a circle thing. And it almost felt like there was cliques now at that point. How do you manage cliques so that everyone feels included in the workplace and feel appreciated and part of something bigger?
Yeah, that's awesome. I think it always has to come down to your purpose, why you're there together. What are you there to do? And if cliques are forming, those people might have a similar music they like, or some other common ground that is bringing them together. Maybe they like the same jokes, whatever the case may be. But if you stay true to the purpose, then you're not going to work for a particular manager. You're not going to work for a specific discount for a product. You're not going to work because you love this one coworker. And if that boss leaves, or if that your favorite coworker leaves, you're still attached to the purpose. And I think coming back to the purpose is how we remind ourselves and remind each other that this isn't a clique. So if you were to say, if I always call you out, Alessia, because I'm head of marketing and you're on the marketing team, and I'm constantly calling you out, if I'm authentic about purpose, then I can say something like, Alessia was a true pay evolutionary this week because he did this, this, this. And now what I'm doing is I'm creating a community that isn't just who I work with. I'm creating a community that is based on the reason we're all here together. And that could make you incredible. That could also make anybody on any other team that is displaying that brand aligned purpose incredible to me too. So I think that's part of it. It's not just about who you're calling out. I think it's about how you're calling each other out. Like, congratulations, you have a gorgeous lipstick on today. So who cares? I don't care. I don't need your compliment because I don't care about that. But we're all here for a purpose. So if we can bring it back to the purpose, then I think we eliminate cliques organically, as long as there's visibility. So then that's the other piece, exposure. I'm very busy, and one of my greatest faults is I don't often go into the Awesome channel. I'll maybe go in there once a month and try and skim through and catch up. And that's not cool. I should make a point of that. It should be something that I do at least a couple times a week. And that exposure piece is what's so necessary, because if I know that someone on the customer success team is displaying a behavior that I just praised in you, then I'm most likely going to give that person a thumbs up or a smiley face or a heart, because clearly that resonates with me. So there's that exposure piece. You can't just be in your bubble. You can't praise each other, appreciate each other if you don't know what you're each working on. And right. I'm going to add one more thought to that. And I know I've been talking for a bit now, but I attended a virtual conference on diversity and inclusion in the finance world. And it was really cool. I can't remember who, but this one guy, he said that he keeps coming back to PI. He said performance, oh shoot, what was the I? The E is exposure, integrity, performance, integrity, and exposure. So he was saying, like, if you are a minority and you want more representation, you need to perform, you need to do so with integrity, and then you also need the exposure piece. Like, I think there are a lot of people that are, whether it's race related or not, I think there are a lot of people that are super performers, but don't have the exposure. No one knows what they're doing, you know? So it can't just be great work. It can't just be constant self-promotion. It can't just be integrity. I'm very English today. I don't know. It needs to be a mix of those things. I actually think that applies to everything. So that exposure piece matters. And as a leader, I'm failing by not going to that channel more often. So it's actually a good reminder for me.
No, for sure. I can also tell, like, you're very passionate about this topic.
Mm-hmm. I am, because we spend so much darn time together. My life shouldn't start when I get home from work, or in this case, because we're all working at home right now, when the clock strikes, whatever, you know. And that is something about me, and I'm very blessed, very lucky that I have the luxury to do this. And it wasn't always the case, but if I hate a job, it's probably because I hate the culture, or maybe there's a particular person that's giving me a hard time, and I just won't stay. If I work with you, I'm bringing myself to work, and I want to know you too. I really, truly do. You know, those are my favorite parts of the day, not just when you, as an employee who reports to me, does an incredible job, my favorite parts of the day are going to be when you tell me the funniest thing that ever happened, this week, and you're not going to believe it, or something that really matters to you, and I get to see your fire. That is why, that's what we're all looking for in all of our connections. And I don't think that work is exempt. I know a lot of people talk about professionalism, and that's great. Be professional. But professional to me isn't, you arrive on time every day, that you always follow up a meeting with an email covering the notes. That's great. That might be something I really appreciate about you. But being professional really is about respect and coming through on your obligations. It's not about not showing emotion. It's not about being some steel version of yourself at work. That's not professionalism to me.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how do you get an employee to open up to you in that sense? Like, obviously there's a dynamic, my manager, and maybe I don't know what's going on. I don't know if you guys are going to fire me in a couple of weeks or so if my performance is bad, whatever it is, right? So like employees don't want to share everything. But how do you, for anyone watching this, how do you get an employee to open up? But also, real quick, Selena left another comment. It is truly about building relationships. So
it's all about relationships, right? It's all about client relationships, coworker relationships, mentor relationships, leader, employee relationships. At the end of the day, we're human beings. And we need to not forget that, even when we're trying to check all the things on the list of, like, I think we've talked about this before, annual reviews.
Right.
It's so frustrating to me when professionalism is on the list. It's like, what does that mean? Because you're a real professional jerk. I don't want to work with you. So what, you get top marks for being professional, but you write everything down and you CC everyone to make sure that you're never caught doing something that's outside of maybe your job description or what you should be held accountable for. Like, that's all very professional, but it's not nice, so I don't know. I don't know. I'm all about the relationships. Thank you, Selena, for sharing.
For sure. And just jumping back to my question, so how does a manager get an employee to open up to them and be themselves around you and everything, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a great question. And I think you need to be you. I'm going to answer this anecdotally because I don't think that this advice applies to everyone, but it has worked really, really well for me. If I want my employees to open up to me, be honest with me, share with me what they're passionate about and want to do, tell me when they are terrified because they know they suck at something, like all of those things empower me to be a better leader. But I don't get access to that information automatically. So if I want them to feel like they can talk to me about it, what I need to do is, what I do is I open up first. And I think you can attest to this. I do bring myself to work, I know that I've told you stories or made jokes that make you say, like, I've heard you say, how did that happen at work? Like, why are you even repeating that story? I'm repeating it because it's hilarious and it's shocking and it's topical, relevant to what we're saying in the moment. And I would say it if you were my friend in my living room.
Right. Right.
And maybe it works for me because I also have very high standards. You're not going to be my friend in my living room if when I need you, you disappear. You're not, if you're not reliable, if you're not kind, you're not my people anyway. Respectful, all of those kinds of things. So, yeah, like I think it's about bringing your full self and making sure that others feel safe to do the same. And so when they do bring their full self, so when my employee leaves me a voicemail at 3 a.m, laughing drunk, saying, oh my God, a crazy night, never expected it, and had such a good time, I'm not making it in. I'll call you when I can. Well, I can choose how to receive that. I can choose to say, wow, I've never gotten a voicemail like that. That was a bit surprising. Or I could treat it nonchalantly, like, ugh, whatever, never follow up, and just expect her to show up when she's ready. I could get angry. Did you think that was professional? Or I could just react the way that I react if someone I respect tells me, I know you're counting on me at this time, and something completely unexpected but wonderful happened. And my reaction is going to be, that's wonderful. Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
It would be different if, that morning my employee knows we're having the biggest event of the year and people are going to be at our front doors at 7:30 waiting for breakfast. And, obviously that's not respectful to do that on that kind of night. But on just a regular day, life happens. We don't, I am a workaholic, but I still don't live to work.
Right.
I work to live. And part of working to live for me is living at work.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. Long-winded answers today, but does that answer the question?
Yeah, no, it definitely answers the question. What about the manager who's listening to this and thinking, if I bring myself to work, it can be exploitive. It's not professional, and work is work. Personal life is personal life. You shouldn't be the same person sending 3 a.m. drunk texts to a manager that's for work, right? Expectations to arrive at work and everything, and leave everything behind. I remember this phrase that says, when you walk into the door, when you start work, you got to leave all your personal stuff behind you and just turn a new head and just be work mode, and then leave. What are your thoughts on that?
And I think that there's some truth to that, but there is some truth to that. Okay, it's not all truth. You shouldn't leave who you are at the door. If you're leaving who you are at the door, you're not bringing your best person into work. And I frankly don't want the dim, uninspired version of you. Again, my philosophy. I want you to bring yourself to work. That being said, I don't want you to bring your personal life to work so much so that it interferes with other things. So I'll give you another example. I had one employee who was pretty funny. He was there on a short-term contract. There were things I probably wouldn't have tolerated if I knew it was a long-term situation, but because it was a short-term contract and the effort it would take me to deal with certain things didn't really outweigh, were not outweighed by the benefit. And so this guy, one day, I think it was his second last day of his contract. And I didn't see him set this up, but at one point in the day, I walked by his desk and he had his gaming console on his desk connected to his monitor and he was playing games. And when I looked and I saw him and he laughed like, "Oh, you caught me." And that was completely disrespectful, right? That's very disrespectful. And so that's not what I mean when I say bring yourself to work. Bring yourself to work in a respectful way. So was I glad it was his second last day? Yeah. In fact, I said to him, you know what? I know who you are. I know that you're a joker. I know that you were dying for me to see this because it would be funny. But you should just take your console and go home and play. Go play games. You don't need to be here, And I think that probably shocked him because I wasn't angry. I was just like, you're clearly not here. Get out. You're not part of the team. You're not on the team if this is how you're going to treat us. When we're all here together working, you do what you can, And I think he was really embarrassed, and he packed it up right away, and he asked around, what can I do? He was wrapping up his contract, so he didn't have a ton to do those last 2 days, but that's okay. He did bring respect at that point. And so that's the other thing about me. I'm going to tell you if you do something that I find disrespectful. I'm not going to tiptoe. I'm not going to be awkward about it. I'm going to, look at you and say, okay, you're showing me who you are. I'm taking you at your word here,
Right.
And I don't have respect for what you're doing.
You
And I
brought
think
up-
that honesty, I think that honesty is actually more hurtful than being told off by your boss. If I had called him into an office and said, you know, who do you think you are? Grow up. He would have walked out and been like, what an uptight whatever. And I don't respect her. She couldn't laugh at a joke or whatever. I didn't do that. I didn't treat him like a child. Well, it's funny because the way that I treat my children is actually the way I would the way I treated him in this situation. You know, you're clearly not here to work. You're clearly not part of the team. So jump ship now. Why are you going to pretend to be here? Like, I can't, how am I supposed to respect you after this? And he completely changed. He didn't feel shamed. He didn't feel like I was trying to be better than him or that I was on some tirade as the leader. He was just like, oh, you're right. You know, like, damn it, that's true. That hurt more than anything.
Right.
So yeah, sometimes I think, yeah, we're talking about appreciation, but I think appreciation is a two-way street. And if I'm a really great boss because I'm so understanding in the moments when you need me to be, then it also means that you give that to me when I need you to be understanding. And it also means that I can count on you when you don't need that extra understanding, that you bring your best self to help, to work, to make my life easier, and vice versa.
Right.
You know, because that drunk voicemail saying I'm not going to make it to work tomorrow would not have been acceptable to me if that person was not a high performer. You know, this was a high performer who cared very deeply and is also a human being. Great. But if you call me and you never deliver on time and you call me drunk in the middle of the night, am I going to respect you? No, because I don't respect you anyway. You know what I mean? But then we wouldn't work together anyway. So there's just a lot of, like, I think this is a really good point. I'm going to look in the camera. So leaders, if you are working with people that you are not showing appreciation to, but you appreciate, start appreciating them. And if you don't appreciate them, so you can't show them appreciation, please let them go or help them find something better. If you don't appreciate them, you shouldn't be working together. Because quite frankly, it should be natural. You're not letting them do their best if you don't appreciate them. You're letting them be less than their best. And I don't think you do that for somebody you respect, personally. My philosophy, not payment evolutions.
That's gonna be a perfect Instagram clip right there. Oh, just like, yeah, no, no, there's so much passion. I love what you're saying. And maybe just one quick thing about appreciating employees before we kind of wrap up.
Yeah,
But
sure.
how do you think employee appreciation changes in the virtual work, in a remote work environment compared to like in like that guy, you walk by his office and saw like he's playing games and everything, but in a virtual environment where distractions are everywhere, open up a YouTube tab or the kitchen sink's right there. How do you manage appreciation in a virtual environment compared to like in person?
Yeah, I think it's probably going to differ depending on your the type of work that you do. I think there are going to be, people who code for a living, and you can tell that they are doing their job by how many lines of code are done by the end of the week. And you don't really care if some of it was done at 11 a.m. or if some of it was done at 8 p.m. because they needed flexibility to deal with their family or whatever. What you care about is that they're able to be their best selves and contribute to the team. So I do think that flexibility is required. When I am in an office with my boss or with someone who reports to me and we have a meeting, I expect to give my undivided attention. I expect to get undivided attention. In a virtual environment, it's different, right? Like my son this has happened on lives multiple times where my son walks into the shot. It's different. Does that mean, like, I think it comes back to respect, because when you respect somebody, it's because you see the quality of what they're bringing. And that isn't about, time that the butt was in the chair. You know, that doesn't, you know, this morning I had a bunch of stuff to do. I didn't block my calendar like I usually do when I have a ton of desk work. A bunch of messages were coming in on Teams. I was being actively tagged, and I didn't respond to anything, including the 3 founders of this company were having a chat that I was in, and I didn't respond till about noon. And I know that they don't respect me any less for it, because they just know that I'm working hard. And I respect them for returning that. So I automatically feel that appreciation, because you know, by virtue of the fact that they're treating me like a competent person they can trust. You know, you trust me. For me, that is trust. That is respect and appreciation. And so yeah, I think the problems in a live office environment or in-person work environment, the problems there are only going to be exacerbated when you're remote. Because if you think that your employee is on Instagram all day or Facebook or whatever, when they're in the office, you for sure are going to believe that's all they're doing at home. But again, you have to look at the foundation. If the foundation is made of straw, that's not foundation. So the way that it needs to work is, I think, trust, respect, this respect for each other's professional competencies and skills is even more important in a virtual environment. It's even more important than ever in a virtual environment that you feel tied to the company's purpose. Because if you're underperforming when people are watching you, you will definitely underperform when they're not. You will be unfulfilled, and the company won't get what it needs. You won't get a raise that you want because the company didn't get your contribution to make it better. It's all so interconnected. So I really think it comes down to trusting and respecting each other. And then I think appreciation can be embedded just in the day-to-day.
Right, right, for sure.
Yeah.
Those gems in this conversation. Love it.
I get very excited. Very excited.
Sure. And you like communications, right? Like that's one of your specialties.
Yeah, communications is by far my specialty. I am fascinated by the game of broken telephone we play on a daily basis in business, in life, in our behaviors. We don't even realize that our behaviors are communicating certain things. And, you know, you might deeply hurt somebody you deeply care for and not even realize the game of broken telephone.
Right.
So yeah, I'm fascinated by reading people. You know, if I meet you, and I'm a talker, but when I meet you, I'm gonna, as a rule of thumb, I spend the first 10 minutes trying to stay hyper focused on just reading you, because if I go on autopilot, I'll forget and I won't pay attention, and I won't discover who you are. But if I can hyper focus on you and be like, oh, interesting, she used that word instead of that word. You know, he laughed at this and not that, or whatever. I start to get an idea of who you are, but it's so easy not to pay attention. It's so easy not to pay attention and then say whatever's on my mind and wonder later why he didn't understand or she didn't get the message. Well, part of the reason that person couldn't listen to me is because I didn't listen to them to start.
Right, right.
Communicating is not just about putting clear words or clear behaviors out there. It's clear words and clear behaviors out there for clear reception. And the actions and words are going to change based on the person, how they receive a message. Right?
Right. Yeah. No, I see.
So yeah, I'm like crazy passionate about communication, psychology, setting goals. We can create our damn lives. I just hate the idea that, like, if you're an unappreciated employee, start looking for work. You know, look for work if you are feeling unappreciated. It's a two-way street. And ask yourself, am I unappreciated because they're just jerks, or am I unappreciated because I'm actually not doing anything worth appreciating? Maybe I'm not bringing my best self. You know, we really, really need that self-reflective piece. And self-awareness is, I will say, Hands down, self-awareness is the simplest concept, the hardest thing to achieve. And most of us think we have some of it, but it is an active daily learning experience to get close to our optimal level of self-awareness.
Right.
So yeah, start there. When you're thinking about employee appreciation, start there. And if you're the employee, you don't have staff that you're overseeing, you're not technically a leader, you still need to think about appreciation. What does that look like in your world? And why does it look that way? What is the root cause? Dig deep, do the 5 whys. Well, I don't feel appreciated. Why? Because my boss never says thank you. Why? Because he's so busy with other things. Why? Well, maybe because he needs some of us to take some stuff off of his plate. Why? Maybe because we're spread too thin generally. Maybe we need to get more narrow. And now suddenly you get to the actual problem. And it's like we need to chop the bottom 33% of priorities off of our list. And then we all need to do a better job helping the leaders, or whatever the situation might be. So I think appreciation, whatever your circumstances around appreciation are as an employee, as a leader, you need to start by looking at you.
For sure. Perfect way to end this. Well, we're coming to the 1 hour mark. Let's say someone's listening to this right now and they're really inspired. Where can we find you?
You can find me anytime. Google me, JTCINA. That's JT Cina. Cina is China without the H. In Italian, that's actually China. And yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can find me at my website, jtchina.com. And please reach out to me. Like, my favorite thing in the world is meeting new people. Absolutely my favorite thing in the world. And I branched off from this experience, and I'm doing a live stream on Friday nights. That's more of a personal thing. And I cannot believe how awesome it is. Like, I've been having amazing conversations with people I've never met before, and I am loving it. So please, whether you're a business owner, an employee, you're interested in fintech, software as a service, whatever career clarity, please hit me up. Like, that's my favorite thing in the world. And maybe, hopefully, knock on wood, I have some value to offer you. So let's be friends.
Awesome. All right, there you go, guys. We'll reach out to Juliana. And of course, we'll be back here next week, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to follow us at Payment Evolution, at PayEvo, wherever you're watching this. And my name is Alif. I'm a marketing specialist here at Payment Evolution. And we will see you next week at 2 o'clock p.m. Thanks again, Juliana.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.